Who do you think all these people are?
Brothers or friends.
Do we think all these people are her brothers and sisters?
Oh no, they're powering from
Maybe.
That's the mom right there.
Yeah.
You never know.
So y'all just make some predictions. Maybe it's going to be his sister, all of her brothers and sisters. Maybe it's not. I'm going to read you another sentence. Doctors were a luxury for the Rudolph family. And anyway, only one doctor in Clarksville would treat black people. First of all, do we hear a fast word?
Yeah.
Luxury. What does luxury mean again?
Something that gives much pleasure but isn't necessary.
It's not necessary, right? So, what can we infer from this sentence when I say only one doctor in Clarksville would treat black people? What can we infer about the time period?
Back row.
It was a long time ago, and what was happening in the 40s a long time ago?
They segregated the,
Segregation separated the whites and the blacks, right? So the author didn't tell us segregation was going on this time, did she?
Nope.
No. So we inferred that it was back in the day when segregation was going on. So we just made an inference. So we used our clues. What clues do we use? Who's in the text?
Text clues.
Only one doctor would treat black people, right? So one doctor. And we use lots of black background knowledge. What did we think about when we heard that? What did we talk about? Yes, Todd.
It was in that time.
It was in the time, yes. And it was that S word. What do we know? Segregation. So we knew about segregation, right? And how horrible it was back in the day. So we knew about that. So what inference did we make? Inference about the time. It was a while ago. We knew that. And it was a time of segregation. And the author didn't tell us that, right? Nope. We figured it out. We made an inference.
Because it said that only one person treated black people.
Awesome. Okay. Let's look at this picture. And as you look at this picture, I want you to think of one of our luxury words. One of our passwords. Maybe the predictions you made before we started our flip flop. Y'all see it over here? What do we think's happening in this picture? It's Rex.
She got polio in the leg.
Do you think she got polio? Alright, anyone else have any other predictions? It's okay if you. Yes,
She got paralyzed.
she got paralyzed, okay. Did you have that prediction?
She got purple.
Alright. Let's look in. I want you to look at this picture. There's something on her leg. And I wanna.
Oh, it's paralyzed.
It's a leg.
It's
a brace.
Huh.
It's a brace.
Looks like a brace, right? Talk in your group. How do you think that she got this brace on her leg? How do you think she got the brace on her leg?
Oh, she started doing that.
She was running in the United States. She probably went to bed.
Stages, so she needs a brace too.
Alright, I'm hearing a lot of great predictions. So somebody said maybe she's in a car, she broke her leg.
No, I think she took some of that wagon.
She jumped over a wagon, broke her leg, she's in a brace now.
Didn't she?
And does it look like she's with the group?
Yeah.
What are these people over here doing? And what is she doing?
Just sitting there.
Sitting there watching. Now I want you to look at this picture. She wasn't walking before, was she? What is she doing now?
Walking.
Walking. Where does she look like she's walking?
The church.
Maybe down an aisle?
Oh.
Yeah, they're out
A
of
wedding.
church.
A wedding.
Maybe a wedding?
Yeah.
So I want us to start our book because It's very interesting. She was walking, and now she wasn't walking with a brace, and now she was walking around the aisle. So we're gonna start a book. And as before we start our book, Wilma goes through a lot of changes in her life. It's about her life. And you change throughout your life as you grow up from a baby to
Yeah.
an adult. Yeah. And we've been talking a lot about character traits. And who can tell me what a character trait is? Jesse, do you know? Someone I haven't heard from. Character trait. Yeah, I just know that describe her. Describe a character. And you actually have a sheet of them on your table. And as we go through this book, I have a poster that says Wilma Rudolph, beginning of the story, middle of the story, and end of the story. And she's going to be doing a lot of changing. And I want you to use your character traits and try to describe her as we read the story. But you don't have to use character traits. You could just tell me how she is. Maybe you don't have to use a character trait. Just tell me what you think about her. All right? And then you have sticky notes, and then you could just, you should have a note. Yeah, you're going to just write on the sticky notes and put them in the beginning, middle, or end of the story. It's just to gather your thoughts about how she grows during the story, because she does a lot of changing. Do you think we'll have enough sticky notes?
Yeah.
All right. So be thinking, and there's a character trait list. Maybe look through some of them as I'm reading and try to think of how she is. All right. So we have Wilma Unlimited. No one expected such a tiny girl to have a first birthday. In Clarksville, Tennessee, in 1940, life for a baby who weighed just under 4 pounds at birth was sure to be limited. But most babies didn't have 19 older brothers or sisters to watch over them. Most babies did have a mother who knew home remedies and a father who worked several jobs. Most babies weren't Wilma Rudolph. Give me a thumbs up if your prediction came true that it was a brother or sister. Just a thumbs up. Wilma did celebrate her first birthday, and everyone noticed that as soon as this girl could walk, she ran or jumped instead. She worried people though. She was always so small and sickly. If her brother or sister had a cold, she got double pneumonia. If one of them had the measles, Wilma got the measles too. Plus mumps and chicken pox. Her mother always nursed her at home. Doctors were a luxury for the Rudolph family. And anyway, only one doctor in Clarksville would treat black people. Before Wilma turned 5, she got sicker than ever. Her sisters and brothers heaped all the family's blankets on her, trying to keep her warm. During that sickness, Wilma's left leg twisted inward, and she couldn't move it back. Not even Wilma's mother knew what was wrong. The doctor came to see her then. Besides scarlet fever, he said, Wilma had been stricken with polio. Give me a thumbs up if your prediction came true. In those days, most children who got polio either died or were permanently crippled. There was no cure. The news spread around Clarksville. Wilma, that lively girl, would never walk again. So thinking of how old she is right now.
Bad.
You can write it on your sticky note. Which will gather your thoughts. But Wilma kept moving any way she could. By hopping on one foot, she could get herself around the house, to the outhouse in the backyard, and even on Sundays to church. Wilma's mother urged her on. Mrs. Rudolph had plenty to do: cooking, cleaning, sewing pattern floor sacks into clothes for her children. Now 22 in them all. Yet twice a week, she and Wilma took the bus to the nearest hospital that would treat black patients, some 50 miles away in Nashville. They rode together in the back, the only place blacks were allowed to sit. Let's stop there. We made an inference about how segregation is happening, but we have another clue right now to help us think about our inference. What's another clue we had that segregation was happening right now? Where were they sitting?
I'm at the
Where were they sitting? In the back of what?
bus.
Back of the bus. So that's just another clue to help us realize, to help us infer that this was a time where segregation was happening, so the blacks and whites were separated. Doctors and nurses at the hospital helped Wilma to do exercises to make her paralyzed legs stronger. At home, Wilma practiced them constantly, even when it hurt. Give me a thumbs up if you would do that. Even when it hurt, would you try to push through it?
Yes.
To Wilma, what hurt most was the local school wouldn't let her attend because she couldn't walk. Tearful and lonely, she watched her brothers and sisters run off to school each day, leaving her behind. Finally, tired of crying all the time, she decided to fight back, somehow. So this is the middle of her life. So how is she different? Maybe write in person note, how is she different now than she was when she was a baby? Wilma worked so hard at her exercises that the doctors decided she was ready for a heavy steel brace. With the brace supporting her leg, she didn't have to hop anymore. School was possible at last. But it wasn't the happy place she imagined. Her classmates made fun of her brace. During playground games, she would only sit on the sidelines, twitching with impatience. She studied the other kids for hours, memorizing moves, watching the ball zoom through the rim of the bushel basket they used as a hoop. Wilma fought the sadness by doing more leg exercises. Her family always cheered her on, and Wilma did everything she could to keep them from worrying about her. At times, her legs really didn't seem to be getting stronger. Other times, it just hurt. One Sunday, on the way to church, Wilma felt especially good. She and her family had always found strength in their faith, and church was Wilma's favorite place in the world. Everyone she knew would be there, talking and laughing, praying and singing. It would be just the place to try the bravest thing she had ever done. She'd come back while people filled the old building. Standing alone, the sound of the hymns coloring the air, she unbuckled her heavy brace and set it by the church front door. Taking a deep breath, she moved one foot in front of the other, her knees trembling violently. She took her mind off her knees by concentrating on taking another breath and then another. So she's trying to take off her brace. Let's go back to this picture. Give me a thumbs up if your prediction came true that she was in trouble. Maybe the next time. Alright. Whispers rippled throughout the gathering. Wilma Rudolph was walking. Row by row, heads turned towards her as she walked alone down the aisle. Her large family, all her family's friends, everyone from school, each person stared wide-eyed. The singing never stopped. It seemed to burst right through the walls and into the trees. Finally, Wilma reached a seat in front and began singing too. Her smile triumphant. A word you hear. Triumphant. So she achieved her success, her victory. We can make an inference on this page because Our author ever tell us that the crowd was so happy for her? What
No.
did they say? What clues?
They were all staring wide
They were staring wide-eyed. What were they doing? Singing.
Singing.
Yeah. Have you ever been or seen somebody so excited about something they just start singing? No? I know when I'm happy I start singing. So we can make an inference, right? What was our inference that we talked about? What was our inference that the author didn't tell us, but we used the clues?
That they were just staring at her and that
So our clues were they were staring wide-eyed. They were staring at her. What were they doing?
staring at her wide-eyed.
Yep. And what else?
Singing.
Singing. And he says he didn't stop the whole aisle down. And then when she got there, she started singing. So I have background knowledge that I sing when I'm happy. Maybe we've seen other people. So what's her inference? They were what? They were happy. They were happy she was walking. We were so glad to see her finally walking. Everyone was there. And our author didn't tell us they were happy. She just said they're wide-eyed and singing. Wilma practiced walking as often as she could after that. And when she was 12 years old, she was able to take off the brace for good. She and her mother realized she could get along without it. In one memorable day, they wrapped the hated brace in a box and mailed it back to the hospital. This is still the middle of the book. As soon as Wilma sent the box away, she knew her life was beginning all over again. After years on sitting on the sidelines, Wilma couldn't wait to throw herself into basketball, the game she had most liked to watch. She was skinny but no longer tiny. Her long legs would propel her across the court and through the air, and she knew all the rules and all the moves. In high school, she led her team to one victory after another. Eventually, she took the team all the way to Tennessee, to the Tennessee State Championships. There, to everyone's astonishment, her team lost. Wilma had been so accustomed to winning. Now she slumped on the bench, all the liveliness knocked out of her. But at the game that day was a college coach. He had admired Wilma's basketball playing, but he was especially impressed by the way she ran. He wanted her for his track and field team. With his help, Wilma won a full athletic scholarship to Tennessee State University. She was the first family member for her to go to college. Did the author tell us what she's going to college for? What sport?
Track.
Track and field, right?
And we heard a scholarship.
How do we know that? What clues did it tell us?
It was a
He
college
said
scout.
he
They
liked
said
her
there was a
running.
college scout. He said they were interested in her, right?
But not full basketball.
But for that. And then we found out she got a scholarship and she was the first family member to go to college. So we can infer that she went to college for track and field. 8 years later, 8 years after she mailed her brace away, Wilma's long legs and years of hard work carried her thousands of miles from Clarksville, Tennessee. The summer of 1960, she arrived in Rome, Italy, to represent the United States at the Olympic Games as a runner. Just participating in the Olympics was a deeply personal victory for Wilma, but her chances of winning the race were limited. Simply walking into Rome's shimmering heat was a chore, and athletes from other countries had run faster races than Wilma ever had. Women weren't thought to run very well anyway. Track and field was considered a sport for men, and the pressure from the public was intense. For the first time ever, the Olympics would be shown on television, and all the athletes knew that more than 100 million people would be watching. Worst of all, Wilma had twisted her ankle just after she arrived in Rome. It was still swollen and painful on the day of her first race.
Wow.
Yet once it was her turn to compete, Wilma forgot her ankle and everything else. She lunged forward, not thinking about her fear, her pain, or sweat flying from her face. She ran better than she ever had before, and she ran better than anyone else. Grabbing the attention of the whole world, Wilma Rudolph of the United States won the 100-meter dash. No one else even came close. An Olympic gold medal was hers to take home. This is the end of the story. So let's think about, how is she different from the beginning? What traits describe her now? So when it came time for the 200-meter dash, Wilma's graceful long legs were already famous. Her ears buzzed with the sound of the crowd chanting her name. Such support helped her ignore the rain that was beginning to fall. When she crossed the finish line, she had done it again. She finished far ahead of anyone else. She had entered her second gold medal. Wet and breathless, Wilma was exhilarated by the double triumph. The crowd went wild. The 400-meter relay was yet to come. Wilma's team faced the toughest competition of all. And after the fourth and final runner on her team, it was Wilma who had to cross the finish line. This is a cool picture. I like this picture. Wilma's teammates ran well, passed the baton smoothly, and kept her team in first place. Wilma readied herself for the dash to the finish line as her third teammate ran towards her. She reached back for the baton and nearly dropped it. As she tried to recover from the fumble, two other runners sped past her. Wilma and her team were suddenly in third place. Ever since the day she had walked down the aisle at the church, Wilma had known the power of concentration. Now, legs pumping, she put her mind to work. In a final electrifying burst of speed, she pulled ahead. By a fraction of a second, she was first to blast across the finish line. The thundering cheers matched the thunder of her own heart. She made history. She had won for the astonishing third time. At the third ceremony that week, as the band played the Star-Spangled Banner, Wilma stood tall and still like a queen. The last of her three Olympic gold medals hanging around her neck. Wilma Rudolph had once was known as the simplest child in Clarksville, had become the fastest woman in the world. Okay. So we talked in the beginning about the theme of the book. What was the theme again?
The main idea.
The main idea, the moral of the story. It's a lesson you take from the book. So talk to your group. What do you think the theme? Why did the author write this? So tell us what.
She was the fastest.
What moral, what lesson can we take from this?
She was the fastest woman.
That the Wilma Rudolph was the fastest woman in the whole children.
All right, Trey, hit it spot on. Trey, tell the class what you think the theme of this book is.
History.
When you start something, you gotta finish it.
When you start something, you gotta finish it. And you said never give up, right? Because in this story, did Wilma ever give up?
No.
The doctor told her she would never walk in. Never.
And now look at her.
And now then she became the fastest woman in the world. So never give up. That's our theme of the story, right? That's why I love this book so much. All right, so talk in your group now how Wilma changed throughout the book. Look at the notes you made yourself. Look at the traits. Talk to your group. How did she change? How was she different at the end?
She was energetic. Then in the middle, she was determined. Yeah, we say she felt sad. She was anxious.
She was brave.
anxious, brave, talented.
She was eager to walk again.
She was independent because she was happy.
She was brave. She was proud that she won that one of the 4 leaders. Yeah.
Well, that one.
She was what are some of the things that your mind
She was.
okay, and she felt sad. She would never walk again, right?
Determined towards the middle and just because she was determined to walk again.
And then like she was sad, she was sad, she seen her brothers and stuff walking to school. She knew she was about to fight back.
She was excited because
She's afraid.
she was walking
The books are the
She was brave. She was
Yeah, proud. She proud of herself. She worked so hard to get there.
They're singing.
Mine says they were singing and
Exact same words.
At
At the end, she took her team. This is what I see at the end. She took her team to the state championship, but now she in college for track and field. She became the best runner.
mine says wait.
The children will
She
take her
had
Alright, I've heard a lot of great thoughts about Wilma and great character traits. So when we were reading, a lot of the times did the author tell us that Wilma was proud of herself?
No.
Or what are some of the other things? Did they say Wilma was brave?
No.
No.
They give these
So, what were you making?
inferences.
Inferences, right? You were reading between the lines. You were using her actions. You were using what you thought about her to make inferences. So give me an inference somebody thought about her. Yes, Haley. Beginning, she was scared. Why did you think that? She was scared you could never walk again. The clues in the text told us because the doctor told her she'd never walk again. So we used those context clues. Yes.
Determined because she was determined that she would walk again because she did all the exercise and determined at the end too because she determined that she wanted to win.
So she was determined. You made that inference. She was determined by the actions she did. Give me one more inference somebody made about Wilma. Yes.
In the middle, she was independent because she didn't have that knee brace or she went to sit down.
Yeah. Yeah, she didn't have that knee brace. She was independent. She made that decision to take that knee brace off. Yes, Brandon. She was shy. Why do you think she was shy? Yeah, she was sitting on the sidelines while everyone was playing, right? She was probably shy.
Studying though.
She was studying. All right, so we made a lot of great inferences today. And one more thing, the theme of the story. We said never give up. Did the author tell us to never give up?
No.
What did we do?
Found out.
We found out. We made that inference that the author wanted us to know to never give up. All right, so if everyone can put their cards, your I know it, kind of know it, don't know it together, then I'll come around and collect those. So, did y'all enjoy this book?
Yeah.
Did we like the theme of the book?
Yeah.
Y'all made some great inferences. Thank you. Can you hear that?